I was in Central Europe when the first indication emerged from the Hague, Netherlands, that suggested that Geert Wilders, a trenchant anti-Islamic, anti-immigrant leader, would lead an unlikely coalition in the next few months. His emergence caused much excitement in a continent that may have cherished liberalism, but was seen dumping it in favor of hate-spewing leaders. My host in this European city is known as a leftist and multiculturalist amongst his circle of friends, but he also sounded more circumspect and displayed understanding of Wilder's phenomena, which was built on the belief that the migrants were taking over Europe. To be fair to those who have given up their long held beliefs on multiculturalism that immigrants and minorities bring to a society, the hate is not restricted to Netherlands alone. The echo of the ideas that fuel hatred towards a fellow human being for his religion can be heard all over the democratic world. Bizarrely, the Dutch politician also has many admirers in India after Wilder came to the defense of Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson Nupur Sharma after she criticized Prophet Muhammad. Wilder is given to toxic utterances against Islam and needs police protection from Muslim zealots who are desperate to teach him a lesson. This is one of the reasons that he finds it difficult to find an alliance partner to form a coalition government anytime soon. Dutch observers claim that a few months down the line, maybe there may be a party that may consider aligning with Wilder's Freedom Party to form the government. However, this is not the issue, but why did Wilder's party get thundering support from the Dutch and even those who were not averse to a multicultural society? And why do Europeans hate Muslim immigrants so much to elect a party that goes contrary to the liberal values of Europe? The answers are not too hard to seek. Since the war on terror was launched, many settled American Muslim societies like Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya were ravaged by unceasing attacks from the United States of America. It also left European powers from behind to bomb out Libya under the guise of UN mandate right to protect the citizens of a country that were threatened by their own rulers. With their economies in shambles and no hope of normalcy returning, where do people from these broken countries really go to? There was a contradiction in the obvious answer as no one goes to the countries they support their cause like Saudi Arabia or even UAE. Invariably, the refugees from these devastated economies or societies could only go to democracy like the US or countries of Europe that were the perpetrators of violence against them. With their economies in shambles and no hope of normalcy returning, where do people from these broken countries really go to? There was a contradiction in the obvious answer as no one goes to the countries that support their cause, like for instance, Palestinians are being supported to Saudi Arabia or UAE, but nobody is going there or would like to go for refuge there. And it's basically the perpetrators of the violence, the Europe and US, that end up getting all the refugees from these broken societies. Understandably, Syrians, Iraqis, Libyans began their long trek to look for a safe haven in Europe, and some of them were accepted in Germany, but many of these relentless refugees were spurned by countries like Hungary and Poland and many others. Their growing presence in largely Caucasian Christian societies was resented by the local people, whose anger began to spill over and their economies began to flounder. The war between Russia and Ukraine aggravated the crisis. Wilders benefited from this hatred for immigrants, as about 220,000 refugees came to Netherlands in an year alone. They not just came from countries that have done business with Netherlands, that may be in Southeast Asia, but those that have no dealing with Den Haag at all. That included Tunisia, Algeria, and Afghanistan for that matter. Wilder, during his election campaign, also pivoted his party closer to the cause of Israel, threatening to deport anyone seen to be an anti Semite. This was a fantastic U turn, as it attempts to change the fault lines of history where the Jews were the hated enemies for a majority of the Europeans. Attempts of the Arabs to remind the Europeans and the United States that they were not the enemies of the Jews but it was the Europeans has fallen on deaf ears. This historical guilt plagued the world after German dictator Adolf Hitler unleashed a genocide against the Jews during the Second World War. This made
The world community overlooked the historical claims of Palestinians who were overthrown from their native land on the day of Nakba, May 15, 1948. The same narrative, fueled by Islamophobia, is impacting politics and conversations in different parts of the world. Many, including in India, have followed the politics of Wilder, though the government here is ambivalent about the issue due to a traditional support for the Palestinians. It has made it amply clear where its heart really lies. As friendly media cajoled by the ruling dispensation has been writing on the Israel Gaza showdown from an Israeli perspective. So the problem in India is far more complex, and it has to do with the support that anti minoritism gets from the majority community. In a democracy, the issues that coerce the majority community really matters. This wave of hate rise, not left untouched, even those who were identified with the left movement. The big question is, how will multiculturalism survive? And not just in Europe, but in other parts of the world too.